Raider Nation, good morning. It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and coming up on today's show, I figured we would look at the Raiders training camp winners and losers so far, and the reason why that I wanted to do it today this morning is because we've had basically one full week of training camp practices. 4 have been done, but today's a special day. Today, the pads come on, and I think today we actually get to see some of these players on the offense and on the defensive side of the football really show what they're going to be bringing to the table. So what I wanted to do today, and I felt like it was a good day to do it, is to break down the winners and losers. We will start with the offense, and then we will go to the defensive side of the football. If you do not know, this show has been growing rapidly over the past 48 to 72 hours. We have had close to, listen to this, 500 subscribers in the past 72 hours. If you're somebody that's new, hey, I greatly appreciate it. But I want this show to continue to grow. I want everyone to know that we are a family here, and we got commitment to excellence. And if you do too, hit that subscribe button. Stay up to date on all things going on around training camp. And if I get any ins and outs around Christian Wilkins, I promise you, I will keep you guys up to date. So I have these winners and losers ranked from 5 all the way down to 1. 5 being a winner, 1 being the biggest winner on offense. Coming in here at number 5, it's going to be Jakobi Meyers. And one of the common things that you're hearing every single practice is that Meyers is being used by Geno Smith almost as somewhat of a safety blanket. Jackson Smith-Njigba last season for Seattle was kind of that safety blanket for Geno, not DK Metcalf, not Tyler Lockett. But what you're seeing early on here from Jakobi is a reliable wide receiver, somebody that when Geno throws him a ball, they know they're going to come down with it. He's also had a lot of love from Chip Kelly this offseason. But Jakobi is somebody that even though he doesn't have any money guaranteed, he's going out there, he's doing everything you're asking him, he's being a professional, and he's really already building a great chemistry with Geno Smith. Let's go to number 4 here. It's going to be Ashton Jeanty. And the reason why I'm putting Jeanty on this list is because the first week of rookie training camp, and then this past week when the vets showed up, the number one thing that I was told that the Raiders are going to see what they have in Jeanty is, does he have the ability to catch the football? We know that he can run between the tackles. We know that he's a hell of a running back, but if we want to make this number 6 overall pick go from good, great to being excellent, he's got to be able to catch the football, and everything that you've heard so far is he's a much better receiver than what people give him credit for. He's also lost a little bit of weight to be more explosive and to be able to catch the football in a Chip Kelly offense. Let's go to number 3 here, and this one might be a bit of a surprise to some people, but I'm going to put Ian Thomas in this list, and quite frankly, I think all of the Raiders tight ends could probably have made this spot. One of the big question marks going into this offseason was, what exactly is the tight end room going to look like? And early on, you're seeing a lot of 11 personnel, 3 wide receivers, a running back, and a tight end. We know what Brock Bowers can be. Michael Mayer got a lot of work this offseason in minicamp, but Ian Thomas, from what I understand, has clearly separated himself and is the clear tight end number 3. It's not anybody else. This is Ian Thomas. He's been working well with Aidan O'Connell. He has been working well in the red zone. He's been working well as a blocker. The Raiders are very happy what they have in him, but from what I understand, Brock and Michael are number 2. But Ian Thomas is clearly at number 3. Let's go to number 2 here in our winners on offense, Thornton Jr. He continues to show out, whether it's a rookie, but on the offensive side of the football, I was really curious to see how the 1s and 2s would run together. Thornton Jr. has been working over Jack Bech every single practice. Bech has been working with the 2s. Thornton's been working with the 1s. Even though there's been opportunities when this season, like they've had Jakobi on the field, they've taken Tre Tucker off, they've brought Jack Bech on, they have kept Thornton on the field. And I think what you're really seeing here is he's kind of the difference maker. He's 6'5", he runs a 4.35, 40-yard dash. He's a great field stretcher, shows also the ability to block. But Thornton Jr. could be one of the big surprises that we've seen, and he's been working over Tre Tucker. He's been working over Jack Bech. Now, Tucker's also been doing a hell of a job, but Thornton might be considered the wide receiver 2 on this team because, again, of his decoy ability. But I want to know, this could be the pinned comment here on today's show. Who do y'all think has been the biggest winner so far during Raiders training camp? My answer is going to be coming up right here after this YouTube ad break. The number 1 winner from Raiders training camp is the guy that's ranked number 1 from our defensive rankings here. So wait off. You're going to have to wait a little bit here to see who that is. But to me, I think the biggest winner so far on the offensive side of the football, I'm going to go with Jordan Meredith. And a very key thing that you have to be able to talk about when you look at winners and losers is it's not always just about how the player is going out there and doing his business. I think it's also what he is doing with the opportunities and where that player is at now compared to where they were at the start of training camp. If I would have told you that Jordan Meredith was going to be getting number 1 reps over Jackson Powers-Johnson at center, I don't think anybody would have believed me. I wouldn't have believed myself. And I'm not saying that it's Jordan Meredith is going to be the number 1 center over JPJ, but I think when you talk about what winners and losers are and how that this segment ends up going down, it's sometimes somebody's stealing a job, somebody's losing a job. And you have to be able to give the flowers to Meredith because the past 2 practices that we have seen, he's been working as the starting center over Jackson Powers-Johnson. If that doesn't make you a winner, I don't know what does. I do want to break down some honorable mentions, though. Both quarterbacks in this list, they've been looking really solid at practice. Tre Tucker's showing some down-the-field ability. And then I got to put Brock Bowers, I got to put Michael Mayer. The amount of work that Chip Kelly is getting for these tight ends, you got to feel pretty damn good about it. Now let's go to the losers on offense. And again, during training camp, you don't always get a lot of the negative reports. We always like to call this like best shape of life season, a lot of positive energy. I am going to put Dylan Laube, though, up here at number 3, simply because from what I've heard from other people at practice, Laube is not a part of this regime. And Laube is falling behind at a running back standpoint. He's also fallen behind a little bit in special teams. He is an outstanding human being. He is a great dude, but it's not going to be easy for him to make the 53-man roster. And it's not because I've heard anything bad about, again, Laube. I'm just hearing about Jeanty. Sincere McCormick, I've heard good things about. I've heard good things about Zamir White dropping weight. I've heard good things about Raheem Mostert. Tommy Millott, I haven't heard too much from a receiver standpoint, but you could tell that he's got some of that juice in the special teams. For that reason, Laube's going to fall to number 3. Coming in at number 2 is Kyle Phillips, a receiver that I thought had a shot to make the 53-man. Based on some of the people that I've talked to that are at Raiders training camp, that is a very, very far-fetched idea at this current point. Now, still, he could have a great training camp this week. He could have a great preseason. It's still a chance to make the roster, but the Raiders went out and they added Phillip Dorsett. They went out and they added Seth Williams. Again, just extra competition to that wide receiver room. But because Tre Tucker, Dante Thornton, Jack Besh, Jakobi Meyers, Tommy Millott have kind of separated themselves, Kyle Phillips, I don't see how he makes this team. And then coming in here at number 1, I'm just going to put him up here, Jackson Powers-Johnson, and this one is a kick in the nuts to me. I said it on my show yesterday. There are not 5 offensive linemen better than JPJ. I do not think that Jordan Meredith is better than JPJ. And quite frankly, if the Raiders roll out an offensive line unit that doesn't feature Jackson Powers-Johnson in it, I am going to question Brennan Carroll. I am going to question Pete Carroll. I am going to question John Spytek. I am going to question Chip Kelly because I like the story that Meredith is. And there's been some rumors out there that maybe this is just Meredith and the coaching staff trying to get him used to Geno. They're just trying just in case because of some of the injury concerns that Jackson Powers-Johnson showed last season. But let's get one thing straight. JPJ is the starter on this team, and the Raiders not putting him in the top 5 and him working as a backup center the past 2 days, for that reason and that reason alone is why I think that you got to consider him right now the biggest loser on that Raiders offensive line. So I'm hoping that we get it figured out because, again, JPJ is better than Alex Kappa. JPJ is better than Dylan Parham. He's got to be in that starting lineup. If you're looking for a Raiders jersey, the Jeanty jerseys continue to be on sale. Go to chatsports.com/Jeanty. You're going to be able to save $26 if you buy right now. This has been a deal that has been going on. Quite frankly, I'm surprised that this deal has lasted so long. It's probably because of the amount of Raiders fans that continuously buy this jersey. If you plan on going to a preseason game, if you plan on going to a regular season game, if you plan on getting a Jeanty jersey, why not do it now when you can save $26? That's 2 extra beers come week 1 game time. Chatsports.com/Jeanty. Coming up next here on the show, we're going to get into the winners on the defensive side of the football. And coming in here at number 5, I'm going to go with Tommy Eichenberg. And I haven't heard all that much about Eichenberg until the last practice yesterday on Sunday, where the Raiders had Eichenberg working with the number ones on defense. And yesterday's practice was a practice where a lot of ones were working with the ones and a lot of twos, were working with the twos. And the fact that the Raiders have been predominantly going with Jermaine Pratt, Landon Roberts, Devin White, that has been the main top three linebackers that this team has been going with. But Pratt has been dealing with some hamstring tightness, and the guy that was filling in for him was Tommy Eichenberg. And, I was hoping that Cody Lindenberg would be able to take a step forward. We've heard some good stuff about Jamal Adams playing linebacker on the interior, but my biggest question mark when I heard that Jamal Adams was going to get signed to play linebacker was, what exactly does that mean for Tommy Eichenberg? And Tommy Eichenberg's proving that he deserved first-team reps, so for that reason, I put him in here as a potential winner. Let's go to number 4 here. It's going to be Leki Fotu, and the reason why Fotu makes this list is not because of what he's done from a on-the-field participation standpoint. It's what he's going to be asked to do. And I think that this week he's going to get a huge opportunity to go out there and show that when he was signed after the draft, this was somebody that the Raiders are going to be potentially relying on to be that Christian Wilkins replacement. Right now, the top 3 defensive tackles that are working with the silver and black at practice, I guess I should say, is Adam Butler, Jonah Laulu, Leki Fotu. And Fotu is kind of that big dude at 330 pounds that's going to be asked, I think, to do a lot of different things on the interior. And yes, there's going to be a lot of players, Tonka Hemingway, J.J. Pegues, but I think for Leki Fotu, for the opportunity that he's going to have to finally, make a loud name for himself with Rob Leonard, I wonder if we could talk about Fotu the same way that we did a guy like John Jenkins, where not going to light up the box score, but if you do enough things right and you make players around you better, that's going to be good enough to get you on the field. Coming in at number 3, let's go to Decamerion Richardson. Richardson's been working with the ones, and the Raiders' secondary in general, they've been mixing and matching. It's been Decamerion and Darian. It's been Stokes and Darian. It's been, Richardson and Porter. They have been going with all these different looks at the cornerback position, and going into training camp, it was the Eric Stokes and Darian Porter show from minicamp, from OTAs, and those were the top 2 corners that Pete Carroll was going out there and they were using. It hasn't been the case at training camp, and Decamerion Richardson has really been eye-opening to some people because of how athletic he is. Patrick Graham spoke about him on Sunday, saying he's got everything you would possibly want from an athletic standpoint from a corner. He's just got to put the technique together. Made a few really key plays against Dante Thornton. The Raiders continue to line him up against Thornton, and it's shown to be a really good battle between both of these rookies. But I got to say this, Decamerion's been getting some runs with the ones, and he's been looking pretty good while he's been doing it. The Raiders have 4 cornerbacks right now competing for 2 spots. Decamerion Richardson, Darian Porter, Eric Stokes, Jakobi Bennett. A lot of length, a lot of youngness, if that's a word. Youth is probably the better word, and a lot of athletic ability. Let's go to number 2 here. It's going to be Jonah Laulu, and Laulu is a young player. He was formerly drafted in the 7th round, did get an opportunity last season, and this coaching staff loves his energy. They love what he brings to the table, and they think that he's a great teammate. They think that he's going to get better and better and better. Leki Fotu and Jonah Laulu are going to be the top 2 players that I think that the Raiders are going to be counting on here that aren't named somebody that I'm about to bring up as the number 1 defensive tackles to fill in for Christian Wilkins. I mean, let's face it. You got 2 rookies in Hemingway and Pegues. They're a little bit young, and they're just not ready to get it going right away. Zach Carter was a player that stepped up at times last season, but really when it comes down to it, you got to find a lot of players on this defensive line, and that's why you're seeing a lot of winners on defense, because these guys on defense, on the line, are going to get asked to do a bigger job. But to me, the biggest winner on the defensive side of the football, I got to give this one to Tyree Wilson. And Wilson is going to be the player that, is talked about a lot, and he's going to get a lot of attention because he deserves the attention. Number 7 overall pick. They're already working him in at defensive end, defensive tackle. He's trying to add a little bit more weight. All the reports out of training camp are it's looking like it's starting to click a little bit for him, and you heard Patrick Graham speak about him over the weekend and just kind of say all the things that we've been hearing, that he's in the 3rd year, that you could tell that it's starting to make sense, that he looks healthy, that he looks stronger, that he looks motivated. It is a contract year for Tyree Wilson. And if he goes out there and he does his thing, he might be able to earn himself a big payday. That's all I'm going to say. Let's go to the honorable mentions here. We got Max Crosby continues to show that he is the leader on this team, and I could almost probably put Max at number one every time I do this show, and I probably say that I could. But he's still going out there, and he's showing in the league why he's been dominating him. He's been giving DJ Glaze all Glaze can handle. Adam Butler showing that he's a vocal leader. He's been breaking down the 1, 2, 3 defense, whatever you want to call it. He's been doing that at practice over the past few days. Eric Stokes, Jamal Adams, I think, deserves his flowers. And then I'm also going to throw in Darian Porter. All of these players I've been hearing positive things about at Raiders training camp. Now, before we get into some of the losers on the defensive side of the football, we got our top Raiders Report fans XP. So the date that you see is here, July 24th. On July 24th, we had our Raiders versus Chiefs game and the breaking news around Christian Wilkins. As it stands right now, Anthony Bemondi, Jerry Danley, and Cass Joey are the 3 highest XP getters that we have ever gotten on the Raiders Report. My question to you is, will somebody take them down today? And if you're like, Mitch, what do you mean today? I'm going to be live today here on the Raiders Report when the Bengals up against the Las Vegas Raiders. This date, I think, is what the date would actually be if it was the wild card game. So just throwing that out there. Chuck's like, yeah, that's what it is. So we have the 2-seed Raiders up against the 7-seed Bengals. I'm going to be live later on the Raiders Report today, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific. If you have never joined us for a Madden Sim, we got playoff football here today. And I know it's Monday. I know some of you are probably walking into Monday like, man, it's Monday. It's a good day to be a Raiders fan. Pull up here to the Raiders Report, and I'll remind you all why. Let's go to number 3 here of our losers on defense. I'm going to go with Amari Gaynor, and the reason why I'm going to go with Gaynor is because I just haven't heard anything about him. I've heard Eichenberg taking first-team reps. I've heard Jamal Adams looking good at the interior at linebacker. I've heard Jermaine Pratt, Landon Roberts, Devin White are working as the top 3 linebackers. So when I hear all of that, plus I know the fact that the Raiders went out and drafted Cody Lindenberg, it's making me wonder if Amari Gaynor is going to be the odd man out, which would really break my heart because Gaynor has kind of been my sleeper, my guy that I've been really, truly cheering for. And he just might be falling out of favor here with this Raiders team. Let's go to number 2. It's going to be Darnay Holmes. And I almost feel bad. I probably should send Darnay a I'm sorry card for all the times that I've featured him as a loser on defense. But he's just getting pushed to the side. You know, you got Thomas Harper working in the nickel over him. You got all these other corners. And again, we don't really have a true nickel corner. But what you're seeing the Raiders do is they're employing 3 linebackers, which they haven't done in the previous years with Patrick Graham. They've done 2 linebacker sets and have used the extra nickel position with corners. Now they're entering out all these outside corners. They're trying to figure out what they're going to do at that nickel spot. They're dropping a safety in. There just looks like that they are slowly moving on from Darnay Holmes. So before we get in to who the biggest loser is on the defensive side of the football, I want to know from you, who do y'all think is the biggest loser for Raiders training camp so far? My answer is going to be coming up after this YouTube ad break, and I'll be real. I think that this is the correct answer. I think that this is the only answer that it should be, and I hope that people, when they see it, they agree with me. To me, the biggest loser has got to be Christian Wilkins. And I know he's not a member of the team anymore. But you go from being somebody that was looked at as being a great teammate, somebody that was looked at as being a locker room leader. That is not the case. I have no idea what the incident between Wilkins and the Raiders was. I am still trying to figure out, but you've seen some rumors being floated out there. I'll just tell you this. I've been told it's a weird situation, and people are afraid to talk about it. In my experience covering the NFL and my experience covering the Raiders, and here's the thing. I've covered a lot of situations that have been, let's face it, headline-worthy stories for the Las Vegas Raiders that haven't been good, and I've been able to get information on it. I don't have any information on what the incident is revolving Wilkins, besides it was a weird one. And then you got people who are previous teammates of Wilkins, tweeting about other stuff. My point is this. Wilkins clearly fell out of favor in that Raiders locker room. The Raiders clearly were happy to move on from him, and I have not heard from a single person. I have not heard from anybody that I've talked to before that sounds like the Raiders miss Christian Wilkins at all. For that reason, I think that you got to say that he's the biggest loser. He's also the biggest loser because he's going to lose out, I think, on a lot of money with the grievance that he filed. I think you're also going to see that he's not going to be able to play for a long time, because I was also told over the weekend that earliest he's going to be able to come back is November and December. I get he wants to play for a contender, but he had an opportunity to play for a contender. He just thought his medical expertise was better than the Raiders' expertise. And then whatever the hell this incident is. All right, y'all, so appreciate each and every one of y'all for tuning into the show. And if you didn't see the video that I dropped yesterday, Chugs was showing that thumbnail about 30 seconds ago. That video is going to be for you guys down in the comments, down in the description of today's show. And if any other Raiders news happens today, I will keep you up to date. I will get you guys another video, because it looks like Raiders training camp practice is about to start here in a few minutes. As soon as training camp practice is over, I'll get you another video dropping here on the Raiders Report. And then again, at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific, Raiders, Bengals, Madden Sim, Wild Card, playoff time.